Welcome back and happy Tuesday. We are coming to you from New York City. I'm here with an old friend, Luan Cox, who is CEO and co-founder of FinMarket. And this week we're going to be talking about point of sale financing and the future of credit cards. There is a lot of talk on credit cards online, and so let's just dive right into it. Luan, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Nice to see you. So from your perspective, really being an expert at this, what do you think is driving the trend behind consumer shift to point of sale financing?
Sure. It's really simple. Millennials don't want to carry the credit card debt of their parents. In recent polls, it's shown that 80% of millennials would rather take out a loan where they know the beginning and the end rather than have an open-ended credit card that they can rack up. And millennials are going to surpass baby boomers this year. So it's a problem and a challenge for banks who have relied on credit card revenue. So when you look at companies like Affirm and Klarna who are achieving such great success, it's because they're appealing to a millennial preferring to buy something for $200 and pay it off over 3 installments and know it's done.
Mm-hmm. And I know I was one of those when I bought my bed. I did the exact same thing because to your point, it's nice because you have the context. You say, okay, this is 18 months, this is 16 months, and I know once I do this, the bed's done, I don't have to think about it again. So you brought up some great examples with Affirm and Klarna. We both have looked a lot at the impact that something like this would have on banks. So what are banks doing in response to this, and how can they respond to this better?
Yeah, sure. It's banks don't move as quickly as we would like, or I'm sure a lot of their employees would like. But in 2019, at least, some of the larger banks like Chase and Citi introduced sort of a step into point of sale, which allowing you to refinance past purchases into an installment loan. In 2020, what we're seeing from large and medium and small banks is they're actually trying to figure out how they can go head to head with these fintechs with a real point of sale solution, which means having some solution either in e-commerce or in a store that allows someone to apply and finance and get approved, or apply and get approved for a loan in seconds with a merchant that they choose. So it's a big challenge for them, and what we're seeing is the credit card groups of these big banks are being reassigned to figure out this point of sale problem, and they can't stop this. Right? Credit cards aren't going to all of a sudden be attractive to millennials. So this train has left the station, and I think depending on who you ask, they have about 12 to 24 months to figure it out, because whoever wins will have already, it's going to be hard to displace them at their merchant clients. So the other challenge for banks to maintain merchant relationships, which is so important to them, is they've got to be able to provide this as a solution.
So that makes total sense from the theory and strategy piece. You mentioned that banks can be a bit slower to move, which I certainly know very well. And one of the other challenges they can have is the legacy technology. So how does a bank that has all this legacy technology compete with some of these fintech, POS people out there? What can they do?
Yeah, sure. First of all, this is a compounded problem for them because unlike consumer lending or just business lending, point of sale actually straddles both sides of the bank. So you've got to get the merchant banking side to talk to the consumer lending side. That's a problem. And then you've got to figure out how you build technology that brings the two together. That's another problem. So what we're finding is they're not even doing the buy versus build anymore. It is just buy. Who can we partner with? What technology companies, small or large, can we utilize to be able to launch this? Because what they need to be able to do in order to compete and be in point of sale is they need to have technology that allows for real-time automated underwriting of a merchant, as well as real-time consumer lending underwriting, right? And then tracking those loans. And then depending on what verticals they want to go into, whether it's home improvement, which is very complicated, or retail, which has much different characteristics, they've got to cater and customize the technology. So what we see they're doing. Oh, and then the other challenge too is they need to be able to have multiple sort of a multi-lender strategy. Because it's not attractive anymore to a retailer who has a choice between working with a company that may provide a prime lender, a subprime lender, and then a subprime lender. The retailer just wants the person to get a loan. so that they can increase their sales. One bank coming in with a solution at a super, and only wants the best credit. Given a choice, retailer would choose, a multi-lender platform. And that's where we come in, and companies like us. So we're in the process of announcing some pretty big partnerships where financial institutions are utilizing FinMarket's technology from end to end to be able to enter the point of sale space. And there's other companies that are doing interesting things as well. So I think, for us, selling picks and axes into what will be the fastest growing or is the fastest growing loan segment puts us in a great spot. So it should be a good 2020 for us. And hopefully we can help the banks and ultimately help consumers and merchants.
Very exciting. Very exciting. Thank you so much, Luan. So, as always, you can read the full interview below. You'll hear more about Luan's background. For all the financial services people in the on the podcast watching what we're doing, you can go ahead and find Luan's details there, including her LinkedIn and Twitter and wherever else you are.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And until next week.